Way Up with Angela Yee. I'm Angela Yee, and that's Jasmine from thejasminebrand.com.
Yes.
And we have a guest that we have been trying to get her up here, but she is so booked and busy. Nina Parker is
Hey,
here.
hey! I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, and we're excited to have you, Nina, because you are a brand in itself, and we want to talk about how you got to this point in your career and in your life, because it's always a balance.
Yes, it is.
And I feel like you've been able to authentically be yourself. You know.
Thank God.
All right. When I first knew who you were, it was from TMZ.
Yes.
All right. So talk about like how you got to TMZ and what you did before that.
What I did before that, I was working at a call center.
Okay. No, that's good.
No,
okay.
for real. So I got my degree in journalism. As the quote goes, as everybody knows.
So
the
you're
infamous,
a real journalist.
I'm a real journalist,
Okay.
as the infamous clip is circulating and recirculating. And I swear this clip with me and Jocelyn is going to resurface. I'm going to be at the pearly gates and God is going to play this clip for me. It resurfaces like every 6 months. But yes, so
It does.
I went to school. I got my degree in journalism. And then I moved to New York for like a year. Failed miserably because I was young and entitled and thought I would just walk into the studios of MTV and get an on-air job. And they were like, no, girl, you do not have experience. People don't understand how difficult it is to get a job on TV.
Oh, yeah, it's hard.
And so I came back to California with my tail in between my legs. I'm from the Bay. So I went back to the Bay Area where my family was. You know, gotta eat. And so I went back and was home for like 4 years. And I was like, I just need a job, you know, making money. So I worked at a telephone call center. And like it was supposed to be for 1 year. 1 year turned into 4. And I was completely miserable and crying every day and calling in sick. And you know, when you're not living in your purpose, you just depressed all the time. And I was filing FMLA and, you know, I was doing all kinds of stuff, headaches every day.
I always say when you start feeling like every morning, should I call out today?
Yeah.
This is not the place to be.
This is it's your sign that you might not be where you're supposed to be. And I think like the universe really makes you uncomfortable when you're in spaces like that you know you're not supposed to be in.
Right.
When you laying in bed at like 3 a.m, you know, like this is not the life I want to be living.
When every time you go outside, you're like, I hate my life.
Right. And so one day
I hate it here.
Exactly. I was like, crying at the computer. My mom was like, you do not have to live like this. And so I was like, she's right. And so I took 2 weeks vacation, packed my car up and moved to LA. And this is so crazy how the universe works, because I really believe if you take one step, God takes two. So I get to LA in April of 2007. I'm on TMZ by June.
Wow.
That was really
that's
fast.
quick. Now, how did you get on TMZ?
I literally went to a temp agency and was like, if I can just get on lots, because in my mind, I was like, I just need to be in the space. Went to a temp agency, was doing secretarial work. And by this time, I'm humble. So I'm like, I'll take out the trash. I don't care. I just need to be in the building. And I was temping on a lot at CBS. And this girl was like, hey, you know, there's this website called TMZ and they're hiring. And I was like, okay. And I literally at the time, they had like a contact us email. And I just emailed them my resume. And they called me in for an interview. And they were like, you are not qualified for much. But if you want to be a production assistant, like a runner, we'll hire you to get lunches. And I was like, I'll take it.
How many people there went to school and got their degree in journalism too at
A lot.
that time? Okay.
Yeah, a lot. Not all. It was about like 60.
Because I'm just wondering, because there's so many things that we could talk about right here, right? But there's a lot of people online that have blogs, they have podcasts, and consider themselves to be journalists, but don't necessarily have a journalism degree.
You know, I think we're in a new age, and I think TMZ was part of creating that. It's a new age of journalism because, you know, with them, it was accessibility. It was getting the camera, being outside of the restaurants, talking to people, and you didn't need a statement from their publicist anymore. You could just talk to them, and then TMZ was around before Instagram, so now you can go and put your own stuff on Instagram, post a story. But this was like in the infancy stages when there was barely even Facebook. So this was like the only access people had to celebs outside of watching those like traditional entertainment shows was TMZ and the website. And I think that's why it went so viral and created this new wave of journalism. And I'm proud to say I was a part of that. Like I was there when it was still a website. We were in the attic on top of Extras TV show.
And Harvey was the person that found it. So he was there. You were working with him closely. Okay.
Yeah, working. I mean, I eventually became the managing editor on weekends. So it was literally just me, him, and a PA on Saturdays and Sundays.
She went from being told that she did not qualify for much to becoming the managing editor?
To managing editor on weekends, and then I was also on the show. So the show, when I started in June of 2007. I was on camera by September of 2007.
It's not
so
a
I
game.
went from like working in a call center. By that January, by that fall, I was on TV, and everybody from the call center was like, "What is happening? How are you on Fox right now?" You know, it was crazy.
What was the best part of your experience working at TMZ?
Well, I was a part of I was a part of breaking Michael Jackson's death. And I wouldn't say that's the best part, but I learned so much from and I also like connecting with other Black journalists and blogs. I think that's how me and you met.
Probably.
You know, I was reaching out to B. Scott, Karen Civil.
I just saw B. Scott.
Carlton Jordan. These were all the people who were working in LA, and I would see them start, and I would be like, we have all of these stories. Why are we not connecting with the Black community and these Black journalists? Why are we not doing that? And actually, when the Breakfast Club started, Charlemagne was emailing me like, "Hey, we're starting this new show. Can I send you clips?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, we'll put it on the site." So I was trying to talk to basically everybody Black who was in entertainment and connect them, because I knew I was a part of this mainstream organization and they weren't giving any love to Black people or Black institutions and blogs that were breaking stories, and then they would like post the story and not always credit. And I was like, "This is not right."
What's the balance between wanting to be first to break a story but also wanting to make sure that it's correct, right? Because I feel like a lot of times TMZ gets it right. There's a couple of times, of course, that doesn't happen. Right. I think that's hard to avoid.
Right.
But for you, what's the balance between, because everybody's like trying to be first all the time and post things. Right. So how does that work?
Well, I think, being first is important, and if you can be, you should be, but also you have to be right, because if you're wrong in first, nobody cares.
Right.
And also you ruin your credibility. Right. So there's a really fine line between like, yes, we want to be first, but also we want to be right. And the thing about a news cycle is it cycles every 24 hours and everybody forgets.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't remember the story that broke on Monday, right? So today is like, we just don't know. Like, you don't want to be wrong and ruin your credibility. So every time people turn to you, they're like, they always wrong. So it's important. But when I was there, I've worked at mainstream news organizations. I've worked for NBC. I've worked for CBS News. So I knew like these people really vet. There's lawyers there. Yeah. They vet. You have to have 3 sources to even get a story published.
Oh, wow.
So you have to have three verified sources. You couldn't just tell me a story as Angela and I just publish it.
Okay.
Like, I would have to check your story, check your background. And so it was like any other place. And in fact, they probably pushed me the most out of any place that I've been at. And I've been at legitimate like news organizations to vet my sources. And they would just be like, is the person answering? No, go to their door. Right. It was old school, like drive to their house, drive to their agency, go knock on the door and talk to them face to face.
I would be like, okay, now this is too much. But you know what else is hard too? Sometimes people feed stories that aren't true.
Yeah, and that's why you have to vet.
Yeah, but if I tell you something that's about me that you would be like, okay, I'm getting it from the source herself, but it's not true. That sometimes makes it hard too, because we know people that try to plant a story about somebody that they're involved in.
And you have to be careful of people's motives, right?
Yeah.
So, and there are people you know and care about who might have a vendetta against somebody.
Right.
You know, and so you have to be like, I've learned a long time ago how to separate my friendships from work. I don't play about work. I don't play about my reputation. I don't play about my money. You could be my friend all day and I'm going to still tell you no. And so I'm not willing to risk my reputation or my career for a story that will be gone in 24 hours. And I'm not going to let you do that to me either.
Now, where did you leave and go to from TMZ?
So after TMZ, I went to CBS. So I went to The Insider on CBS. I was co-hosting with Kevin Frazier.
Talk about
and
it.
Brooke Anderson. And that's when I really started like traditional media, I would say, where I'm doing like red carpets, reading from prompters, because TMZ didn't have prompters. It wasn't like stoic. It wasn't old school. It was very like, it was new age. So it was very difficult going from like this progressive place to this more traditional place. It was really hard for me to adjust because I was used to like, we could post whatever we wanted on social. Harvey didn't care. We could go rogue. We could say whatever. CBS was like, you cannot post this. You cannot do this. You cannot be seen here. And that was really hard for me coming from a place where I had a lot of freedom.
Right. So then how long did that last for you?
It lasted for 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a contract. I was on air.
Did you like doing red carpet? I've never really enjoyed.
No, I think it's awful.
I liked it for a while. Listen, I went on to do, it led me to do all the red carpets for Eve for 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, I was doing live from the red carpet. I was at the Oscars, the Grammys, any award show. I was there on a huge platform, and I appreciate the opportunity. Is it like what I enjoy doing the most? No.
It's so intense. And
It's
then
intense.
And then it's also, you can't ask like anything too deep or too.
Yeah, and I like that.
You only have like a few seconds with someone. Yeah.
I like what we're doing now.
Right.
I like having a conversation where the environment isn't chaotic, where your publicist isn't pulling you out after 2 minutes, because there's not really much we can discuss on the red carpet in 60 seconds.
Right.
And it's also, I don't think people understand, like, it looks glamorous on Instagram. It's not.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
High intensity.
Yes.
And sometimes people come and you don't really know them.
Right.
Either.
And you have to do a lot of
we've seen that
research.
happen.
Yeah.
And then those moments go viral when
Right.
somebody says something real quick and awkward. It's not an easy thing.
No, and I do research. Like, I have binders. There are people who don't research.
Right.
I am not that. Like, I research events like I'm in class. So I research, if I'm doing the Oscars, I research every film, every actor on the film. I learn how to pronounce their names. I'm literally on YouTube Googling old interviews so I can know how to pronounce their name,
Exactly.
what they've been in the past, check their IMDb.
Yeah, you're right. Even pronouncing somebody's name
Yeah,
right.
it can be
That's
offensive.
important. Yeah,
It's a big
Somebody
deal.
says your name and you're in a Oscar-nominated movie and they say it wrong,
Right.
they'll walk away from you.
Like Nina
You know,
Parker.
right? Somebody call me Nina, it's a problem. You know,
How do you think black media was treated on the red carpet? Because that's always
Not
been
great.
Yes. Okay.
and this is why I wanted to connect when I was at TMZ with a lot of people, is because I was like, I saw the disconnect between what we would call mainstream media and black media, but what I saw was like black media was breaking
is
a lot of these
mainstream.
stories, and it is mainstream.
Right.
And there was this confusion that because it's not because it's a black star, they don't deserve A-list treatment, and there were only certain black stars that were being recognized that were worthy of being interviewed. You had to be the super upper echelon Denzel Washingtons to even get acknowledged on the red carpet. There would be people who we've known for years. If you think about when Taraji did Empire,
Right.
white organizations started saying, "Oh, this new star." But
Right.
to us, we had
We're
known
like,
Taraji for
hello.
years.
Right.
We've been replaying Baby Boy on BET for years.
Right.
So Taraji was a big star to us, and I was like, "This is crazy that y'all don't know who Taraji is until she did this show on, Fox," and it was just kind of crazy to me. And so I internally had to do a lot of fixing and talking and practically begging them to, like, put this person on, interview this person, grabbing people from the red carpet. And sometimes I would just do it and get in trouble. Like, no, we're going to talk to them and then just
I
deal with it
love
later.
that. And then another thing that I saw you take control over is you have a clothing line
Yeah.
that's in Macys, right? So talk about that, because you are the first black woman to have a plus size clothing line in Macys.
Yes, an exclusive clothing line. They've had other black designers,
Right,
but it was never an exclusive line. They would carry the collection and it would go away. This was a line that was created exclusively for Macys. And really it came out of discomfort and anger, because I had a show on E for 5 years and I needed clothes every day. And we were on air,
Right.
and I'm a thick girl, and I was like, if we got an outfit for Monday, I was happy. And then I'm like, damn, I need an outfit for every other day of the week.
Right.
And there were just no designers that were, to me, dressing me the way I felt like I should be dressing in my head. In your mind, you see your style one way,
Right.
but what was available was like
Something
floral
different.
print, flowy dresses. Me and my aunts, from the
Yeah.
church was wearing the same clothes. And I was like, why I can't have a cute little fishnet jumper? Why
By the way,
does
that
this-
jumper is very
Thank
cute.
you.
Is that from your collection?
It is from the
It's
collection.
super
Yes,
cute.
thank you. And you could wear with heels.
I like that. That
is
Jeans,
really
shoes. But I just wanted more versatility. And
So were you designing your own clothes too?
well, what I was doing was, and thank God I had a stylist who, and obviously regular women aren't able to have that, but I had a stylist who would get an outfit and we would literally cut sleeves off of one thing, sew stuff on. So we were literally creating outfits. She found somebody who could sew in neighborhoods, and the lady was sewing clothes for me and all of that stuff. Angela in here throwing
I
stuff.
know, I had to get somebody to charge it back while they're leaving. I was trying to be smooth. Okay.
The base.
Oh, sorry. Cut that out. Okay.
I forgot what I was saying, but yeah, so we would put outfits together, and I was like making my own outfits and sewing and doing things, and I was like, this is exhausting.
Right.
And I had went through a really bad breakup at the end of 2019, and I kind of made this list of like what I wanted my life to be like, and where I wanted my goals to go through, and like what kind of woman did I want to be, and like instead of complaining about things, what could I do to actually put things into action? And the top thing on my list was creating a clothing line, because I was tired of just always commenting on how there was nothing and just being discouraged. And I just started to say, how can I put things into action in my life where I'm being actionable towards what I want instead of complaining about it? And that was the first thing that I did. 2 weeks later, I got a call from my partner, now partner Hilda at Reunited Clothing, who was like, "Hey, I want to create a line with you, and I want to pitch it to a major retailer."
Wow, had you put that out there already, or did this person? Oh, that's
I hadn't put
amazing.
it out there. It was really crazy. I was like, maybe manifestation does work.
Apparently, it does.
Yeah, it did. And so all of 2020 we created. So when it was the pandemic, literally, Jasmine, you know this, we were creating on Zooms and having meetings and creating an outfit. And she texted me and she was like, "I'm not supposed to be telling you this. Your agent's supposed to call you, but Macys wants the line."
Wow.
And I was like, no. Like, I thought we might be in a little pop-up. I didn't think we'd get like,
that's amazing.
The most iconic retailer in the world. And they were like, no, they really wanted to really devote to their plus community. And they believe like you can help drive that. And so now it is, the #1 plus line at Macys, and it's doing really well. Yeah.
That is amazing.
It is.
So yeah,
I love that.
It's good.
I love the way that your whole trajectory has been, because I feel like everything that you've said, okay, I have to make this happen. You've made it happen.
Yeah.
And I'm like a huge opponent of being stagnant. I hate when I feel like I'm stagnant. I will create some type of confusion in my life just so I don't have to be stagnant. But the other thing that you did, and I admire this a lot because I love real estate.
Yes.
All right. Is Buy My House. So let's talk about that show.
That was cool to do. And I just, as I grow, and I think, you've been doing your show for many years, even when you live it in your dreams, sometimes you can get stagnant or bored.
Well, this is a new show. So
this, not now, not this show, but before.
You
know what I mean? Like that's why you created this, because you were like, okay, I need something new and different, and I want to contribute something different. And that's how I feel too. I was doing I started to get a little, not bored in hosting, but I started to be like, okay, I'm talking about the same thing every day. Yeah. Like I don't always want to talk about celebrities. I'm also growing and getting older. And the things that interested me when I started my career at 27 in this industry are different now that I'm 28.
You're so funny.
And so I was like, oh man, like I don't necessarily want to talk about the Kardashians anymore. Right. And then this opportunity with Netflix came to do this show about, basically it's like Shark Tank with houses.
Yes, I love it.
And it's so fun because you meet all these people from all over, and you're working with real people, which is dope because there's no egos involved. Sometimes when you're dealing with celebrities, they come in with their entourage and there's egos, and these people are just honest, hardworking people who have a house they want to sell and they just want to get the best price for it. And then you have all cash offers, tycoons who bid on the houses, and then there's like this bidding war, and it gets juicy. And egos do get involved a little bit because these homeowners work hard, they flexing on their property, and then it's a fight, and we see if they bid the property or if they sell it or if they keep it, what happens, what it's worth. And these tycoons are buying the property sight unseen, so it's really dope.
And that's tough because when you own a property, it can have so much sentimental value to you, but that doesn't mean it has the financial value.
That's what they say on the show.
And and the owner usually has an emotional connection, so they value it more than.
And we have people on the show who, one woman got over cancer in her house. So it was very important to her to get the right price because she's like, this house healed me. Oh. But and not to be heartless, but these tycoons don't.
Yeah,
the buyer like, okay, girl, but that don't have nothing to do with
so
the square
footage.
What
type of foundation? Yeah, exactly.
Right? They're like,
it's a pool upgraded,
right?
And the show did pretty well. Like
yes,
it was trending.
It did. It was trending in the top 10. It did really well, and
I love
it
that.
Also allowed people to see me in a different light because people have been used to seeing me do these interviews with celebs or arguing with folks on Love and Hip Hop. So it was dope to just it's.
How did you enjoy hosting those Love and Hip Hop reunions?
Okay. It was a wonderful opportunity.
No, don't do that. I didn't ask you.
We know.
Wonderful opportunity.
You talking like a politician.
So I have to say it was a blessing to me at the time when when you're hosting, you don't get a show. People think like if you leave a show, you get another one. That's not normal. Like what you just did, transitioning, that doesn't happen. Like you have to be a very special talent to get shows back to back. People don't understand how difficult that is.
That's right.
So for me when I stopped doing The Insider on CBS, CBS, I didn't have another gig. And it came at a time where I really needed it. And so for one, yes, I did do it for the bag. It was, and I'm not gonna lie about that.
Right.
I don't have family that can support me. I'm on my own.
Right.
Jasmine has loaned me money in the past because I didn't have enough to pay my rent after I was done. I wasn't good with money at the time. I was horrible. And so when I was coming out of that in 2014, I needed some money.
I'm so glad you said that, because people think you're on TV and automatically that means you're rich, living it up, and you're good. And
that's not true.
And it's also important to think about what's next. And sometimes we don't think about that.
Right.
And you know what I learned from that experience, because when I was at CBS, I blew all my money. I remember going to Rodeo when I got my first check, and I bought a Gucci bag, a Louis bag. I was acting like Rick Ross at brunch, buying everything, extra this, and it wasn't smart. And so when my job went away, which TV comes and goes, my job went away and I had no money because I was living paycheck to paycheck, good checks, but I hadn't saved. And what I learned from that experience was the next thing I get, I'm going to save. And also I'm going to start getting multiple streams of income.
Yes.
So I hit rock bottom, and then I learned from it. And now that's why I'm doing, I got a show on Netflix, and then I also have my clothing line. And then I just started my own production company. I'm like, you're not going to catch me like that again.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes it's also hard when an opportunity, like you said, goes away, and then people are like speculating on it, and you have to and then there's an announcement that's made.
Yes.
Right.
That's not easy either.
It's hard on your ego too, because sometimes with these networks, it's all about numbers. And also when you get people that come in, the network execs shift so much. So if the old network exec created your show, the new one wants to come in and they want everything under their name.
Right. They want to have their own legacy, to be like, I have this, I have that, get rid of these people.
Yep. And they get rid of all the old. So sometimes it has nothing to do with you. It's not personal.
Right.
But it's hard not to take it personal, especially when you're hosting.
Right.
Like this show is Way Up with Angela Yee. You take it personal sometimes with people because you're not acting. You're not pretending on a show to be someone else. It's you. And as a host, you're being yourself. So when people don't like you, you're like, dang, they just don't like me. It's not like they didn't like the character I was portraying. And that can be difficult. But then you learn to get a thick skin, and just like who rocks with me rocks with me. And that's the same with networks. Not every network is going to rock with you. And in the meantime, you've got to figure other things out. And for me, my career has really shifted where I understand now why Jessica Simpson never went back to music, because these clothing lines is lucrative.
Right.
I can see why Rihanna's like,
I understand why Rihanna's like, I don't need to make another album ever again, because it's like, I didn't know it was coming like this. But it also allows me to be very discerning with the jobs that I take. Where I had to take Love and Hip Hop, when you asked me if I liked it, I didn't enjoy it because it was chaos, and it wasn't where my spirit was. Right. I don't communicate with people like that. I don't sit in chaos. I'm not part of love triangles. I'm not trying to fight people. Right. But at the same time, I do believe that everybody deserves to get their story told. And I think that there are people who are like, well, why are you doing this? Or why are you interviewing this person? But I got cousins like this, and they deserve to have their story told just like everybody else. Right. And sometimes when you peel back the layers, you see we're all human, and a lot of people are just operating in hurt. So I do think that's important to tell, but there is a limit on that. And that's why I did ultimately walk away from it. They did ask me to come back. And I declined, and because things changed for me and shifted for me. And also, like I said, I could be discerning on what I decide to choose.
That's a great position to be in.
Yeah. It's a wonderful position
to be able to say no.
Yeah, and I say no to probably more things than I say yes to now. Because I'm in a position where I can do that, but also I've built my life to where I can do that and not have nothing for a while and still be okay. Yeah. And I'm in the most peaceful place I've ever been in.
Oh, and as far as the hosting opportunities that you've had, which one have you enjoyed the most?
I probably would say E.
Okay. We love you on
E.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the Nightly Pop was so much fun to do. It was a late night show.
It looked like you had fun.
It looked like you had a good time.
We did. We had fun. They was giving us alcohol to sip on, and we could cuss and make dirty jokes.
Yes, that sounds exactly like this show.
Yeah, it's a little sippy sip. Where's my sip? But yeah, it was a good time. It was fun, and you just learn from each experience. And like, okay, this is, it's like a relationship. Every time you're in one, you learn what you do and don't like, and the more you know what you don't want, then the more you know what you do want, and you start to gravitate towards that. And so now I know the kind of environments that I like to be around, and you learn from the good and the bad. And you're like, in the future, this is what I won't do. This is what I won't tolerate. In my contract, I'll learn to do this. And you kind of learn and you grow.
There are so many people that want to be in this space of hosting, of reporting, journalism. What advice would you give? Because people ask me all the time, like, I'm just trying to get my foot in the door. And I saw what you did. You got your foot in the door by saying, I'll take whatever job, just let me in the building. But things have changed a lot. So what would you say to people on the come up now?
Well, one, I would say it makes sure you're doing it because you really truly believe in the craft of it. Like, I really enjoy journalism. I went to school and I studied it. And I watched, when I wasn't working, I would watch Oprah interview people, and I really dived in and did my homework because I love the craft of it. I didn't do it to get a lot of Instagram followers or be invited to a red carpet. That stuff comes later as a perk. But I didn't do it because of the perks. And if you're doing it for the money or for the perks, you're in the wrong business. Because unless you're in that top percentile, you're not getting the coin that you're not going to be in a Bentley next week because you landed a role. And TV ain't paying like it used to.
Nah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, if you love the craft of it, do it, but don't do it because you think it's glitz and glamour, because nothing is what it seems like. I'm acting now, and I'm on set, and it's not glamorous. Like, it's a lot of hurry up and wait. It's a lot of doing things repeatedly. Like, it's fun ultimately, but everything is work. If it's a job, there's work involved.
Oh, so acting is the next chapter.
Yeah, I booked an Audible series, and I'm not saying the name or what yet, but then I also am booking like guest roles.
Okay.
And I'm fully getting into acting right now, and it's really exciting.
This is
you booked
fun.
a good one recently.
Yeah, I just recently filmed something, and
can't wait till you announce it.
Yes.
It's really good.
It's really dope because I've always wanted to act, and I've been really, and when we talk about getting stagnant, I was scared to do it because I was like, I'm really good at hosting. I'm scared to do this. But now what I've learned is kind of run towards the things I'm scared for, because when I realize when there's fear there's something about it that scares me. That means I'm interested.
What I tell you, that's why I love horror movies.
Killer
I enjoy
over here.
being scared, but I enjoy being scared to do things.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's a better feeling when you conquer that too.
Right.
Because you will, and you can.
Right.
Like, whatever it is that you're scared of, you can conquer it. And the fear is just you kind of doubting yourself or being scared what people might think or what people might say.
Yeah.
And you got to just get it. Did you take acting classes? And
I hired a coach. Yeah,
See, I
hired
knew
a coach. Yeah.
She don't play.
No. I'm not playing with my future. But what I also do is, I have a new manager, and she was like, are you okay with like auditioning for small parts? Because a lot of times when you already have a name and you start auditioning, these people know who you are, so they feel bad if they're like, this is only 2 lines, like, is Nina gonna want to read for this? And I was like, I'll read, like I did for when I started TMZ, and when I said I'll take out the trash, I'm like, I'll read for whatever, I don't care. Teacher number 2, that's fine, because you gotta start somewhere.
And you gotta be humble when you go from one thing where you're at the top to starting in something new, respecting the fact that this is a craft that you have to now start.
I'm not a seasoned actor, so I don't have. Jasmine knows my biggest fear is being delusional. We, as people in entertainment, see people who are delusional every day. I will call her and be like, am I tripping? At least 3 times a day. And she will for sure say yes or no. Most of the time I'm tripping. But I need people to check me because I like being grounded. And so I'm not delusional enough to believe that I have earned a reoccurring or a starring role on a hit TV show.
Right.
Coming out the gate and just starting acting this year. I don't believe that.
And you also want to be ready.
Yeah.
Too, because you
That's
don't
a
want
good
people
point.
being like, man, they gave her the starring role, because that is a lot to be prepared for and be ready for.
Yeah.
I would rather work my way up to something than just jump in. I mean, sometimes jumping in works.
Sometimes it works for some people.
Sometimes it does. But for me, I am
But we have also seen the other way where people go for, you like, what this person is starring in a movie? What's happening? And so it can go either way.
Yeah.
And I just like people around me who tell me the truth. I like being told the truth. I do well with the truth.
Okay.
And so I like people to tell me, like, am I ready for this? What do you think? And I make sure I have a team around me that does that as well. So when my manager was like, look, these are the things I'm going to put you up for. Like voiceovers, I do that too, like for cartoons, but I've also been doing voiceovers for a lot. So for that, I'm probably a little bit more skilled because I've been doing voiceovers for years.
Right.
But it just depends. But I try not to be foolish in like my ambitions. I want to be grounded, but also I do want to manifest. So it's a little bit of hopeful, but also like realistic like views too.
Right.
Well, Nina Parker, I cannot wait to see once you have this illustrious acting career, you come back and we replay parts of this conversation to see, oh yeah, we talked about this on Way Up with Angela Yee, because that's really what this show is about also. Just being like, okay, we're way up from where we started, but we still have way up to go.
Yes.
So.
Well, I mean, Angela, you kind of at the top, girl, but
this is brand new. And just like you, I'm humble enough to know that I'm starting all over again.
Yeah, it is a blessing.
And some people look at it as like, oh, she took some steps backward. And
no, that's not what it is at all.
But again, but people will view it that way because, like you said, this business is this is an honor for me to even be able to have my own show, and not a lot of people will get this opportunity.
Right.
So,
well, you know, a lot of people are masters of none. So it's easy to tell somebody what to do when you haven't tried to do it, you know, and it's the truth. It's like, if you can do it, you should do it. Yeah. What do you say? If you can make hoe, make another hoe.
Right.
And it's not that easy. It's true. And so I wish somebody would try to come up here and try to get a show and see what goes into creating and how much you work. And also, just to give you your flowers, I was talking to Jasmine because I was like, how does Angela even get the energy to do the show, do events, make appearances, support her friends? Like, it's not easy, because I go to bed. Like, I don't know how you do it, because I'm like, support you on the Instagram, sis. I'm going to bed. I'll repost it. Like, you'll be outside and working, and it's not easy to do. And so, you know, I have to give you your flowers for that, because you know, and you look good too, and that's hard to do, because I look crazy doing it. So
shout out to my makeup artist Keys, man. I don't know what I'd do without her.
Shout out to coffee, because with it I would not be here.
Coffee uplifts people. All right, well, Nina, thank you so much. I do appreciate it, and we're definitely gonna have you on like a few more times, and I cannot wait for your announcement.
Yes, anytime I'm in New York, I'll come say hi.
All right, thank you, Nina Parker.
Way up.